Now, this morning, when I first got up, pulled back the curtains, looked out on the street, and everything looked normal except that the streets looked kind of black. And I thought, well, that's funny. It looks like it rained, and yet it hadn't rained. Then I realized that the humidity was so very high outside. So, needless to say, I did not open my windows. Now, yesterday we got pretty badly sidetracked with our new security camera system that came, and we're not going to deal with that today. So let me get my other glasses going here. What I want to try to do, see if I can get these. I should have had everything more lined up. But what I want to try to do is pretend that we are going to put our, remember this, in just a precise spot on these little rails that I've got here, and just see if I can't solder them in place. I'll reposition everything here, and we'll put the macro lens on, and you'll be able to see how badly it goes close up. At least that's the plan. Yeah, let's get going here today. Okay, before we get going here, about 2-3 episodes ago when we were looking at this ring and we were trying to figure out what were these things around the outside that we have since discovered are actually pulleys. And one of the viewers had mentioned that if you looked at this particular drawing closely and used your imagination a little bit, you could see what they were. And I was going to mention that later on when we had the macro lens on and we were looking straight down on this and we were looking at it nice and sharp, you actually could, at least in, I believe it's this one right here, you actually could see that it was the textured side, or the detailed side rather, was out. We could have saved ourselves a lot of fooling around if we had to look closely to start with. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. I meant to mention it about 2 episodes ago and I forgot. Okay, let's pretend now that we're going to want to be able to solder our spider in a precise location we'll pretend we're going to want to solder one of these little, we'll call them feet, because it would be feet on the end of the spider legs, right? So we're going to want to have one go right here, and the other will be, well, we can just make a little mark with our knife where we want it. And that way we can bend it afterwards. Now, I thought this would be easier than it is. I should have maybe done a dry run. Okay. So if, my goodness, this is a lot harder than I thought. All right, we're going to want this one here right on the very end. Okay. So then the other one, maybe it'd be better if I did it like this. Okay, so we want them like that. Now, the other one, we'll just make a little mark here on the photo etch. We're going to want to put it right there, right where that little indentation is. Okay, maybe we'll straighten this up after. Anyway, yeah, oh yeah, you can see that. Once we get the macro lens on, you'll be able to see it. So I think what I'm going to try to do is first of all, we won't worry about this one or these ones here. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. We'll put this little foot right out here on the very end, and then, well, where should this one be? May as well make the mark right now, right? Makes sense to me. Okay, so we want to put it right there. All right. So my thinking is, maybe if I was to be holding this down so it doesn't move somehow, and then get this in just the right place and maybe hold it. Now this will be after we get, you know what, let's get the macro lens on and readjust everything. Okay, I think if we just concentrate on one spider leg at a time here, and that will be, we want to try and, where's my tweezers? As I mentioned earlier, this is more finicky than I thought. I don't know why. I thought this would actually be quite easy. Maybe I should be using different tweezers here. Okay, now we're going to want to try and put this right on there. We'll worry about this one over here later. You might be able to see the little mark we made with our hobby knife. Okay, we're going to put the foot right on the center of this piece of photo etch. So now get ourselves a little bit of I think I'm getting it. Just get a little bit more on there. Okay. Now, unfortunately, our part wants to stick to that. Now, is it going to, are we going to be able to hold this down? I'll sample a little bit of solder. I've got the soldering iron set at about 370 here. It's going to get just a little bit of, now the idea is to try and hold this down very carefully so that it doesn't want to come back up. And as soon as the solder is on there, then I'll. Okay, are we getting it, pushing it down? No, there. I think that's it. Aww. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, get it centered on there. Now, okay, hold this down. There. All right. Now, that's not going to come loose. Well, I suppose a person could pry it off, but we should be able to manipulate this one around now and get it just right over top of this little mark. I mean, that's the whole idea, right? We want to get these things in the right position. All right, just let me be careful not to burn myself. All right, so we want to now spring this Oops. Maybe I should have a different knife here. Well, you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to try and put a little bit of flux in the area where we need it, which is right there. Now that should be more than enough. Now, I think I've still got solder on here. Now, we'll try and I'm hoping I'm not going to be getting in your light here. I'm going to have to come in from this angle like this. So those of you watching on this camera, you're going to be blocked. I'm sorry about that. Well, I don't want to be soldering my knife to it. Maybe if could I do it like this? Yeah, I think I can do it like that. Okay, whoops. Okay. I don't know if we got it in the exact right place. I couldn't see that little line that we had made with the hobby knife before, but I think we pretty much got it. Okay, it shouldn't come loose. Now let's twist everything around here and see if we can't maybe do the other one. We're just practicing here. Okay, I'm going to make a bit of a change here. I think it was a bit of a mistake to use this white piece of paper as the background. Now, I wanted the white paper because it contrasts with the photo etch pieces, and it wasn't too bad for the macro lens, but it was throwing the other camera for a loop here. So I'm going to use this piece of cardboard. Now, I've never used cardboard before as a background that I can recall, but I do believe we should be able to see everything. Now you're going to watch now what happens to the upper part of the, like up here where my hand is. Okay, you watch how the screen will lighten up as soon as I take this away. Now, I know I could do everything manually. Please do not make comments and say, well, you can adjust your camera manually. I know that, but that's a bloody nuisance to be doing that all the time, and sometimes you forget, and then you've taken a scene that you can't change later. You can't reshoot, I mean. Anyway, watch what happens here. Now, you should notice here on the screen, let me get my macro lens out of the way. You can read it, whereas when I put the paper here, it changes. Okay, maybe not as much as I thought. Let's make a liar out of me. Okay, let's reset up here, and I may not use the macro lens. I think we'll probably just use the lens that's on right now and just move in as close as we absolutely can with it. It'll just take me a minute or two to set up here. That's dead center. Okay, I rearranged everything here. We're going to do things just a little bit different. Okay, we know that that hole is more or less in the center of the field for this camera. But what I'm going to do differently is I'm going to hold on to the part by the middle instead of on one end, and I think there'd be less chance of it moving around. Now I know I could have used wider tape here and come up with the same thing. All right, now we're just going to concern ourselves with this one first. Okay, we'll try and, okay, maybe I should give it a bit of a twist here because it's, okay. I'd like to have this foot, if you want to call it that, pressing down. Oh, come on, Ron. This is, I thought it was going to go better this time. It's still not twisted enough here. Remember yesterday I was saying how this photo etch is springy. It has a tendency to go back. This is an exercise in frustration, I'll tell you. When we get to the real thing, which I was hoping to do yet this afternoon, okay, now there, okay. Now, how can I hold this down so it doesn't move? See, I want to get a little bit of, just a little bit. Well, I'll just see if I can just get just a little bit on there. Like that. Okay. Now that should, when the heat gets near it, that acid flux should run down the leg right onto that other part, the other part like this. All right. We're set at 380 degrees here, and the idea will be to just hold this down. Okay, let's sample a little bit of solder. All right, now hold that down. There. All right, that went pretty good actually. Now that shouldn't break off there. I should be able to force this where I want it, and the other one's not going to break off. Well, maybe what I can do is hold it like this. Oh, I forgot to put the acid on. No, I'm not going to put all of that on, don't worry. All right. Now, I'm probably blocking your vision here now. I wonder if I could, I'm just going to try and redo it here. All right. Now, those connections will actually be really, really strong. Way stronger than CA glue, way stronger. Okay, I know that's the way we usually start the day, but I think we're going to be ending it like that. Now, for Mark in Australia, I know I had said that today we were going to do the real thing. But you know, in order for me to do a really good job, I obviously I don't need this anymore. I mean, this has served its purpose. Mind you, this one little part did break off easier than I thought, but the other three held on pretty good. I mean, you can break it. I mean, sure you can break it, but you have to be careful not to cut yourself. I mean, it's that strong. Anyway, yeah, in order to do a really good job here, now let's make sure I get the right parts. I want to be able to take my time. And if I was to try and do it yet this afternoon, as you can see, it's 12 minutes after 2. And today is Wednesday. And you know what happens Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So, yeah, I gotta cut it off just a little bit earlier here. And, yeah, we'll set it up. Excuse me, we'll set it up, and I plan to do it much the same way as we just did the last one. The only difference is I'll probably put the macro lens on. At least that's the plan. In the meantime, everybody, thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll be seeing you tomorrow. Now don't put that in your mouth.